When knelt in the rundown studio apartment, begging me to stand by him through the hard times, I had just defeated my scoundrel father and his illegitimate son, taking over the family's multi-billion-dollar fortune. I kept my identity hidden, resolved to help him in secret. But after he rose again, he embraced his idealized first love and cursed the daughter I carried, calling her a liability. During bouts of morning sickness, I emailed his financial backers, "Uncle, starting next quarter, delay the supply of Vance's core raw materials and the delivery of critical orders. I want Vance to change hands." In the delivery room, he was filled with regret, but my lawyer unveiled 7 immediate and ruinous notices. These included, but were not limited to, divorce papers, bank credit line freeze notifications, and supplier termination letters. "Mr. Julian, I dismantled your empire." It was a night of torrential rain. In Sterling, the chandelier blazed, blindingly bright. I held an umbrella in one hand, while the other instinctively shielded my swollen abdomen. A 5-month pregnancy was the only fragile connection left between Julian and me. Through the thick wool coat, my fingertips could feel the subtle movements of the tiny life within, like a shy fish quietly blowing a bubble beneath calm water. "Madam," the housekeeper, who had been heavily bribed by Julian's idealized first love, Daisy, spoke with a dismissive air. The living room was amply heated, and a cloying fragrance wafted through the air, mixed with a faint scent of alcohol. Julian was lounging in the large velvet sofa, his posture relaxed. His expensive silk robe was loosely tied, revealing his defined collarbone and a glimpse of his chest. Daisy, meanwhile, was wearing a matching blush-pink negligee, spoon-feeding him nourishing tonic. "Julian, be careful, it's hot." Her voice was soft and sweet, as if dipped in honey. I stood in the entryway, my pregnant belly protruding, water dripping from my clothes. Like a blemish that had suddenly appeared in this house. Julian heard the sound, and the smile on his face instantly faded. Daisy, on the other hand, flinched slightly, like a startled deer. A fleeting, almost imperceptible hint of triumph crossed her beautiful eyes. "Sister is back? The rain is so heavy outside, come sit down quickly, warm yourself up." She feigned to take my hand, acting as if we were truly sisters. The cloying scent of perfume assailed my nostrils again as she drew near. My stomach lurched violently. I quickly clutched the armrest of the nearby single sofa, trying to steady myself, but the nausea clung to me like a parasite. Daisy looked at Julian, her eyes wide and pitiful. "Julian, don't you think sister looks like she's not really up to taking care of me? I can manage on my own, really." Julian's face darkened further at her words. "Grace, don't play innocent here. What were you brought back for? To be treated like royalty? Daisy needs quiet rest and care. What's with that look? Are you deliberately trying to cause trouble?" 3 years ago, it was also a stormy night, but the location was a tiny, dilapidated rental, permeated with the smell of mildew and despair. At that time, Julian was not the haughty Mr. Julian he was today. He was curled up in a creaking old sofa, his eyes bloodshot, like a trapped beast with nowhere to go. "The family is finished. Everyone has run away. Grace, do you dare to bet? Bet that I can still get back on my feet?" Julian's eyes then were like scorching lava. As his last hope, and out of the friendship forged from growing up together, I resolved to help him. So, after I defeated my scoundrel father and his illegitimate son, I stayed by his side, my identity hidden. I not only helped him cultivate connections but also provided anonymous financial support. Back then, I gripped his cold, trembling arm, my voice low but exceptionally clear. "I'll bet with you." During that time, the dim, cramped rental became our bat. Leafield. By day, I went to work at my company. By night, I returned to face the computer screen, my eyes bloodshot from exhaustion, helping him connect with impatient suppliers, humbly mending a crumbling old network of contacts, and repeatedly revising those hopelessly slim business plans. During the toughest times, we ate plain noodles for half a month straight. He looked at the clear, meager broth in my bowl, his voice choked with emotion. "Grace, I swear, Julian, will definitely make sure you have a good life." Those fervent vows, the warmth of bodies clinging to each other in despair, the bitterness we shared in that dilapidated rental. At this moment, they felt like the cruelest slaps, striking hard across my face. I sobered instantly. "I'm not faking it." My voice was hoarse, each word grating. "I just can't control it when I smell certain things." Julian sneered, his gaze piercing my lower abdomen like a probe. "You're carrying a girl and think you're so precious? Daughters only cry when they're born, and later they're just liabilities." The words "a liability" seared my heart like a red-hot branding iron. Was I to let my daughter follow in my footsteps? No, I would never allow it. Just then, Daisy timely looped her arm through Julian's. Julian, don't be angry, you still have me. Julian's expression softened slightly, and Daisy grew more triumphant, turning to look at me. Sister, don't blame Julian for being blunt. Ever since he got rich, the Vance family has been desperate for a male heir. If I could really, at this point, Daisy suddenly stopped speaking, gently caressing her own lower abdomen with her fair hands, two shy blushes rising on her cheeks, her meaning clear. Did you hear that? Last week, it was also thanks to Daisy's parents' investment that I was able to acquire the development. Now is less far along than you, and since you can't help with much else by staying here, just take care of her daily needs, her meal plans. As for the one in your belly, find a time to get rid of it. Get rid of it? Julian actually spoke of a living, already human-shaped life as if it were trash. I looked at the couple before me. One was insatiably greedy, aiming to expand his business. The other had set her sights on the Vance family's rising influence, intending to infiltrate with capital. No wonder they clicked instantly. Julian's handsome profile appeared so perfect under the glittering chandelier, yet so utterly unfamiliar. He held his former idealized first love, firmly believing she carried a son. Fine. My voice was surprisingly calm, like stagnant water, without a single ripple. Taking care of Ms. Daisy, right? No problem. Didn't they just invest? Then I'll play along with you. No one is taking what belongs to my child. Julian seemed not to have expected my compliance. He raised an eyebrow and glanced at me, but was quickly interrupted by Daisy. Julian, I'm a bit tired. All right, I'll help you up to rest. Julian withdrew his gaze, tenderly helped Daisy, and slowly ascended the spiral staircase, disappearing around the corner on the second floor. The vast living room was instantly empty, save for me. The cloying scent of Daisy's perfume and the faint fishiness of nourishing tonic still lingered in the air. A month ago, Julian had ordered me out of the master bedroom because Daisy claimed the smell of cooking fumes gave her palpitations. I had moved into the converted storage room next to the staff quarters. I slowly shuffled to the stairwell, my legs feeling like lead, each step impossibly heavy. Clutching the cold wooden banister, I slowly ascended the steps. The second-floor hallway was carpeted thickly, making my steps silent. As I passed the master bedroom, the room that had once belonged to Julian and me, my steps did not falter. Further ahead was my room. The door was ajar, I pushed it open, and a cold, dusty air, typical of an unoccupied room, assailed me. The room contained only a narrow twin bed, a simple wardrobe, not even a table, a humiliating cage specially prepared for me. My phone vibrated in my pocket. It was a voice message on WhatsApp from Uncle of Stellar Incorporated. I opened it, and Uncle's rough, slightly ingratiating voice boomed in the confined space. Ms. Grace, rest assured. I, old Marcus, will remember your kindness when you helped me in my time of need. Julian has gotten too arrogant lately, dragging his feet on payments and putting on airs. You give the word, and I'll immediately cut off his supply of Class A special steel. Let his production line halt and leave him to starve. I quickly closed the door and lowered the volume. My stomach churned again. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, and suppressed the nausea. My fingertips were icy, yet they steadily typed out a reply. Uncle, thanks. Stick to the plan. Wait for my signal. Sent. This wasn't the first message. Over the past 3 months, every time Julian's harsh words stung me, every time Daisy accidentally spilled hot soup on me, every time I listened to the faint sounds of flirting from the master bedroom next door while my calf cramped alone in the dead of night, humiliation and intense pain transformed into a series of icy messages, emails, and international calls from my fingertips. To whom were they sent? To the suppliers I had sought out one by one under the scorching sun, leveraging my family's connections, back when the Vance family went bankrupt and Julian hid away, drinking like a stray dog. Uncle, please help me for the sake of the past relationship between my father and you. Director, we urgently need this batch of raw materials. I, Grace, am willing to offer a 3% profit share. It was I who, using my family's network and connections, secured Julian's first life-saving venture capital. These intricate interests, these resources, and connections, these foundations upon which Vance now gleams, which part isn't soaked with my blood and sweat? Julian forgot. He embraced Daisy, basking in the halo of Vance's CEO, believing all this had fallen from the sky. But he forgot. I didn't. As for opportunities, I truly had given them. And not just once. My stomach churned again, and I rushed to the small bathroom in the corner, dry heaving violently into the toilet. This time, nothing came up but bile. Tears, a physiological response, blurred my vision. I suddenly realized that Julian hadn't changed his heart abruptly. Perhaps at the moment he rose again, or even when I was exhausting myself, considering everything for him. He and Daisy were already shamelessly together under the very sky I had propped up with my blood and tears for him. The following days slipped by in a suffocating strangeness. I became Daisy's personal attendant. Julian's commands were absolute, and the housekeeper supervised meticulously. Daisy's diet was extremely demanding, 5 meals a day, each different, requiring the freshest, most premium ingredients. The kitchen became my primary battlefield. The smell of cooking fumes still nauseated me, but I learned to endure it. When I delivered a meticulously prepared, steaming hot meal to Daisy, she would frown fastidiously, poke at it a few times with her spoon, and then softly complain, "Sister, this tastes so strange." Julian said, "I can't have anything too salty lately, sister. This nourishing tonic seems overcooked, it's not smooth enough." Julian was usually nearby, either handling documents or watching TV with Daisy. Of course, Daisy's meticulous quiet rest also included various eccentric demands. Sometimes it was a sudden midnight craving for osmanthus cake from the old establishment on the west side. Other times, it was a whim to see a certain out-of-print art book. More often, she would accidentally knock over a water glass, soaking the carpet, or not hold steady and shatter a precious ornament. Then she would panic and hide in Julian's arms, watching with red eyes as I silently knelt to clean up the mess. And each time, Julian's reprimands followed like a shadow. "Grace, what are you doing? Is that all you're capable of?" Each time, I silently endured. No explanations, no resistance, like a soulless puppet. Only the hand guarding my lower abdomen would instinctively tighten. Every bend, every squat, the heaviness in my abdomen reminded me of the little life inside, the one his biological father called a liability. Hatred, forged through these repeated humiliations and the faint movements of the child within me, was hammered repeatedly, hardened and tempered. Julian seemed quite pleased with my sensibleness and compliance. His gaze, aside from the usual coldness and annoyance, occasionally held a subtle, almost imperceptible hint of triumphant control. One night, he uncharacteristically entered my room, carrying Daisy's perfume scent, and said with an air of condescending charity, "Daisy is kind-hearted. She sees you've been working hard and feeling miserable lately. As long as you behave, the Vance family won't deny this child a living, so we'll let you keep it. But remember your place, don't fantasize about things you shouldn't." I lay on the bed, so narrow it was difficult to turn over, and looked at him. "Julian, guess why Director of Summit was willing to meet you back then?" He paused, then grew impatient. "Why bring up old matters? Of course, it's because my business plan was well written." Business plan? I had stayed up 3 nights straight, typing it out word by word for him while he was passed out drunk. But that wasn't even the crux of the issue. Originally, through complex nominee agreements and offshore company operations, I used part of my inheritance to inject capital into Vance under the name of Summit, acquiring crucial shares. Director was merely a loyal old subordinate of my father's. Julian had always believed Summit was a mysterious benefactor who saw his potential, and he treated them with utmost deference. Little did he know, the benefactor was the very wife he despised, living under the same roof with him every day. And, Edward of Horizon Machinery, how did that batch of critical equipment come about? Enough. Julian snarled, like a cat whose tail had been stepped on. "Grace, stop dredging up old scores and seeking credit. Vance is where it is today because of me, Julian. You're just a woman with a bit of luck. Don't spend all day thinking about pointless things." The door slammed shut. "Fine then. Don't blame me. The information was just about fully gathered anyway. In late pregnancy, my body felt heavy as lead. Every movement was accompanied by an aching back and a dull pubic pain. But within this clumsy body, a thoroughly enraged mother beast lay dormant. My phone became my weapon, and my tablet, my sword and spear. Poor signal in the storage room. I, with my protruding belly, used the excuse of a walk for fresh air, and sat for 2 hours in the most secluded corner of the estate grounds, hidden by dense foliage. Morning sickness struck? After throwing up into the trash can, wiping away tears and cold sweat, I continued working on the screen, my fingers flying. Email titles were calm yet deadly, pre-communication letter Vance's future chain and partnership adjustments. The recipient list was a long string of key figures vital to Vance's survival. Video conferences? Held after Julian and Daisy were sound asleep in the early hours. I put on my headphones, lowered my voice, and faced the surprised or understanding faces on the other end of the tablet. Uncle, Mr. Edward, I apologize for disturbing you late at night. As Group's largest hidden creditor and original resource integrator, I, Grace, respectfully request that, starting next quarter, you temporarily suspend the supply of Vance's core raw materials and the delivery of critical orders. On the other side of the screen were the seasoned veterans who had watched me fight for Vance all those years ago. They remained silent for a.m. Moment. Grace, are you sure? Julian is at the height of his power right now. That's right, if you do this, Vance could very well collapse. I caressed my heavily swollen belly, my gaze as cold as iron. His collapse is exactly what I want. His influence is fleeting, but the foundation is real. You all know best who laid Vance's foundation. Now, he's trying to destroy mine. I paused, then said word by word, he almost made me get rid of the baby. Because he despises that it's a daughter, hindering him and Daisy from having their son. Instantly, a chorus of curses erupted from the video call. Bastard! Uncle's table-thumping sound came from afar. Grace, don't worry. Old Marcus, will be the first to respond to your request. You've seen Julian's behavior recently. He delays payments, he's arrogant. Following him won't last. If he can abandon his wife and child, who fought alongside him, like a worn-out shoe, how much sincerity and integrity can he have towards his partners? Alright, everyone knows what's what. Just give the word on what to do. Help me this once, temporarily halt supply, freeze, and suspend cooperation. Next quarter, Vance will change hands. After I, Grace, take over, past debts will be settled with priority, principal and interest. For future collaborations, I'll offer the most favorable prices, payment terms, and priority. I can sign the contracts right now. No problem. Starting next quarter, if that man Vance wants so much as a single screw from me, he'll need your approval, Uncle said. Ms. Grace, we'll follow your instructions. One by one, invisible ropes tightened in the late nights of my pregnancy, through equally invisible networks, constricting Vance's seemingly formidable body. Julian was still dreaming of an empire in his blissful slumber, completely unaware that his oxygen was being cut off, little by little, by me. Time crawled slowly through the oppressive routine. My belly grew irrevocably day by day, like a heavy fruit. Pressing down on my lower back, bringing increasingly intense soreness, swelling, and heaviness. My movements grew sluggish, my calves often cramped at night, making me curl up on the cold twin bed, biting the corner of the blanket, enduring in silence. Yet these physical discomforts paled in comparison to the ice in my heart. Julian ignored all this, even with a deliberate avoidance. If his gaze happened to fall on it, he quickly shifted it away, as if it were something unclean, something to be avoided. Only would I my abdomen with a gaze mixed with curiosity, wariness, and a subtle sense of superiority, especially when Julian was present. Sister's belly is so much bigger than mine. One time she deliberately said at the dinner table, I've heard people say that a pointy belly often means a boy. Sister's belly was just bigger than other pregnant women's at the same stage, but now, it seems a little pointy too. As she spoke, she cautiously watched Julian's expression. Julian's hand, cutting steak, paused, and the silver knife and fork scraped in grating sound on the bone china plate. He turned his face, examining my belly closely for the first time. My heart skipped a beat. But my face remained as calm as stagnant water. I even lowered my head slightly, avoiding his gaze. Humph! Julian snorted coldly, his tone filled with disdain and certainty. How could that renowned fortune-teller have been wrong? With her constitution, it would be a miracle if she could give birth to a son. He finished speaking and no longer looked at me, turning instead to gently serve Daisy. My labor pains, estimated by the doctors for my due date, arrived belatedly at the very last moment. That day was unusually muggy, the air so thick it felt like water could be wrung from it. Throughout the day, I felt my abdomen tighten in waves. Late at night, the contractions finally came like surging tides, each stronger than the last. Intense pain ripped through my body, pulled sweat instantly Ked my thin nightgown. I gritted my teeth, forcing myself not to make a sound, fumbling to press the call button by the bed. The sharp ringing sound was particularly grating in the silent mansion. After what felt like an eternity, hurried footsteps and the housekeeper's sleepy query finally came from outside. Madam? What's wrong? I'm in labor. I was curled up on the bed, my voice broken by the intense pain, each word squeezed out through gritted teeth. The housekeeper seemed to freeze for a moment, then hurried footsteps receded. After what felt like an eternity, there was movement outside the door again, not the housekeeper, but Julian, what's with the caterwauling in the middle of the night? Haven't you reached your due date yet? Just endure it. Don't disturb Daisy's rest. Another severe contraction struck. The pain made my vision darken, and my knuckles turned white. Outside, Julian's reprimands and Daisy's petulant complaints after being awakened blurred together. There was no concern, no urgency, only the irritation and disgust of interrupted sleep. Julian, it's so noisy. Sister is deliberately keeping people from resting well. Daisy's whimpering voice vaguely reached me. There, it's all right. I'll make her shut up. Grace, behave yourself in the middle of the night. If you make another sound, I'll throw you out. I bit down hard on my lower lip, instantly tasting the strong metallic tang of blood, and could only use every ounce of strength to fight against the escalating waves of agonizing pain. I stopped making any sound. Only ragged, suppressed gasps echoed in the small room. After who knows how much longer, the housekeeper, with a look of reluctance, finally called the driver. I was half supported, half dragged into the car, and sent to Prestige Center, the private hospital the Vance family had long-term cooperation with. Along the way, the waves of contractions almost tore me apart. I curled up in the back seat, clutching my abdomen tightly. My teeth chattering, cold sweat pouring down. By the time we arrived at the hospital, the sky was already turning a faint pearly white. I was quickly wheeled into the prearranged VIP delivery room. The environment here was luxurious and comfortable, like a high-end hotel suite. Though vastly different from the dark guest room I'd inhabited for months, it was equally cold and devoid of human warmth. Because no one was there with me, the labor pains became increasingly frequent and intense, like countless dull knives repeatedly cutting and twisting inside my body. The midwife's voice reached my ears, now guiding my breathing, now urging me to push. But I had used almost all my willpower to fight the overwhelming pain and maintain a last shred of consciousness. Sweat once again blurred my vision, and my already muddled consciousness drifted in and out with the waves of agony. Then I saw Julian, rushing in at the very last moment. I thought he had finally come to his senses, but instead, I was harshly slapped. It's all your fault for making Daisy rest poorly and go into premature labor. If anything happens to my son, I'll make you and your daughter pay with your lives. Family, please leave temporarily. All the doctors and nurses stared in astonishment at the man who had just slapped a woman in labor. Ah! A roar, utterly inhuman, burst from my throat. Not from pain, but from hatred. It was the despair and rage accumulated for far too long, finding their only outlet at this moment. This roar seemed to have expended my last ounce of strength. It was also like a signal. Julian was startled by me. I felt my body suddenly loosen, and then, the loud cry of a baby resonated throughout the delivery room. Wah! Time seemed to freeze at this moment. The cruel command on Julian's face instantly froze. Just a girl, isn't it? But her cry is quite loud. The midwife's joyful voice broke his soliloquy. Congratulations, Ms. Grace. It's a healthy baby boy. What did you say? Who gave birth to a healthy baby boy? Julian whirled around, rudely cutting off the midwife. His eyes were fixed on the baby, freshly cleaned and crying, waving tiny fists in the nurse's arms. That was my precious child. Its skin was rosy, its cry resonant, full of vibrant life. Bad news, sir. The housekeeper rushed in, his face tear-streaked. Ms. Daisy had a difficult labor, with severe bleeding, and she gave birth to a daughter. What? What did you say Daisy gave birth to? Julian might have suspected his ears were failing him at that moment. The doctor said Ms. Daisy's daughter. It's uncertain if she will survive. Wah! On my side, a second vigorous baby cry once again broke through the dawn, as if booing Julian. Wah! Congratulations, Ms. Grace. You've been blessed with 2 sons today. The younger brother is out too. Sons. My sons. Twin sons. Julian followed me from the delivery room to the recovery room. Who the hell cares who gave birth to them? All that matters is a male heir for the Vance family line. At this moment, Julian had completely forgotten Daisy, only roaring in ecstasy. In his eyes, there were only those 2 precious sons. However, before he could lunge towards the bedside, he heard a cold voice. Mr. Julian. My lawyer, Mr. Robert, whom I had commissioned, appeared at the doorway as if on cue. Behind him were a man in a bank uniform and 2 expressionless bodyguards. Mr. Robert completely ignored Julian's frenzy, his voice steady yet filled with the chilling finality of a verdict. Before you celebrate your offspring, please address the imminent group crisis. Based on the evidence and authorization provided by my client, Ms. Grace, I will now read aloud the following immediate and effective official letters to you. As he spoke, He picked up the first document, stamped with a bright red official seal, Stellar Incorporated to Vance, effective immediately, cease supply of all class of special steel and accompanying precise on components. Resumption of supply is TBD. Liquidated damages, as stipulated by contract, have been transferred to Ms. Grace's designated account. The wild joy on Julian's face instantly froze. Mr. Robert then picked up the second document, Horizon Machinery to Vance, suspend delivery of all 7th-generation intelligent production line equipment ordered by your company. For already delivered equipment, suspend subsequent maintenance and technical upgrade services. Due to your company's repeated payment delays, your credit rating has been downgraded, and future cooperation is indefinitely suspended. No. Impossible. Are you all insane? Why are you doing this? Don't you want to make money? Stellar and Horizon Machinery were undoubtedly Vance's two core lifelines. The third and fourth documents, Mr. Roberts' voice like a death knell. Global Logistics suspends all dedicated export lines for Vance. Sterling notice, your company's mortgage loan credit line has been frozen, and accelerated repayment clauses will soon be triggered. TechCore Semiconductors terminates chip supply framework agreement. One after another, a total of 7 of them. From group's most crucial suppliers, banks, and partners, all immediate and effective notices of supply cessation, asset freezes, and termination. Each letter was like a heavy hammer, mercilessly pounding Julian from his illusory heaven into hell. No. Julian completely lost it. His eyes bloodshot with fury, he lunged at Mr. Robert, attempting to snatch the documents. Fakes. They're all fakes. Grace. It's you. You're behind this, aren't you? You have *****ing schemed against me. You want to ruin me. Ruin my Vance. The 2 bodyguards quickly stepped forward and restrained him. Mr. Robert, unfazed, handed the final document, the share transfer confirmation, to Julian. Mr. Julian, these business letters are just Ms. Grace's first step in reclaiming her business resources. As for you personally, Ms. Grace has formally filed for divorce. Given your significant misconduct and proven marital infidelity, the remaining shares of Vance under your name, 3 major properties, and 70% of your personal liquid assets may be transferred to Ms. Grace as compensation and child support for the twins. The immediate freeze procedure has already been initiated. As for Vance, Mr. Robert paused, looking at Julian's instantly ash-gray, despairing face, like that of a dead man, and then delivered the final blow. Having lost its core supply chain and capital chain, and having lost the support of its largest hidden shareholder and the original resource network integrated by Ms. Grace, Mr. Julian, your company, from this moment on, has entered a countdown. Collapse is merely a matter of time. Julian was completely drained at this moment. He was like a puddle of mud, collapsing limply under the bodyguard's restraint. Those eyes, once filled with boundless ambition and later with cold disdain, now held only endless despair and belated, meaningless regret. He stared blankly at the 2 swaddled baby boys in the nurse's arms, symbols of the Vance family's future, then looked at the woman on the bed whom he had personally pushed to be his adversary. Suddenly, his lips trembled as he spoke. Grace. I was wrong. I was blind. Please forgive me, won't you? For our son's sake, let's start over. I swear I'll only be good to you from now on. Only good to our sons. Grace. Please. If I had known you were carrying sons, please, look at me. Just look at me, won't you? He was incoherent, tears streaming down his face. Julian, who had once been so high and mighty, viewing me as worthless, was now like a stray dog begging for scraps, wagging its tail, just to touch the bloodline he had personally scorned. I was possessed. Right, it was Daisy, she seduced me. She drugged me. She admitted it herself afterward. Grace, believe me, I only have you in my heart. Only you and our sons. He tried to sever the past with the most venomous words, hoping for a glimmer of hope. Look at them. He pointed at the swaddled infants, his eyes instantly regaining a fervent gleam. They're so much like you. So much like me. They are the crystallization of our love, the continuation of our bloodline. Grace, everything in the past was my fault. Give me one chance, for our son's sake, let's start over. I swear, I'll listen to everything you say from now on. He groveled, like the most devout worshipper begging for divine mercy, his forehead already bruised and purple from hitting the ground. That fervent possessiveness for sons had now become his only bargaining chip. He even delusionally tried to use words like crystallization of love to gloss over a past that had long since rotted and reeked. I lay on the bed, still unwilling to look at him. Julian had brought this upon himself. It would have been better if he had accepted his defeat like a man. This fawning, begging behavior was truly disgusting. The intense physical pain and the dizziness from blood loss and wove, tormenting me. My consciousness hovered on the edge of blurring, yet I clearly saw his utterly repulsive performance. There was no anger, no satisfaction, only a bone-deep, cold weariness and extreme indifference. As if he were merely a mass of noisy air. My silence was more destructive than any curse. Julian's wailing gradually subsided. He lifted his head, the pathetic pleading in his bloodshot eyes slowly fading. The deep father-son bond act was gone too. Grace! His voice suddenly rose, sharp and distorted. Speak. The family's lineage, by what right do you take them away? And by what right do you ruin my empire? Get out. I didn't want to say another word. You poisonous woman. You planned this all along, didn't you? From the moment you got pregnant with them? No, from the moment you married me, you were here to destroy me. To seize my Vance family's foundation. You are all harbingers of disaster. Here to curse me. You want to ache my sons? Ruin my Vance? Grace, you're dreaming. He let out a beastly roar, abruptly breaking free from the two bodyguards. Like an uncontrolled cannonball, he recklessly lunged at me on the delivery bed. With a viciousness that aimed for mutual destruction, he clasped his hands around my throat. If I can't have it, no one will. Let's die together. Bitch! The sheer malevolence that erupted instantly caught everyone off guard. Fortunately, Mr. Robert, who was trained in combat, subdued him in time. Mr. Julian, perhaps you should check on Ms. Daisy. It's uncertain if the child will survive, and her condition is also very critical. Many things await your decision. Julian was dragged out of there. And at that moment, I was utterly exhausted. My consciousness, like a kite with a broken string, was swallowed by the surging wave of unconsciousness. Julian's broken murmurs, the rustling of the lawyer gathering documents, all the noisy, grating sounds, representing destruction and reckoning, rapidly receded, blurred, and finally sank into a serene deep sea. I could finally fall into a deep sleep. To sleep, free from nightmares. Outside the window, the sun was obscured by heavy clouds, but soon, a blinding flash of lightning tore through them, followed by a rolling, muffled, yet powerful clap of thunder, like war drums, announcing the end of an old era, and the arrival of a new one, set in motion by my own hands. The corners of my cold lips curled upwards ever so slightly. It wasn't a smile. It was the settling of dust. When I opened my eyes again, I saw two tiny, rosy, wrinkled little faces. Like two tiny fruits, freshly sprung from the earth, still kissed by the morning dew. Wrapped in soft, light blue swaddling, they nestled quietly, one on each arm. Their tiny mouths twitched slightly. One, eyes closed, instinctively and intently sucked on a small fist. Sunlight gently enveloped the three of us. The world was so quiet that only their faint yet incredi sweet breaths could be heard. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments. Feel free to share your perspectives, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.